retail store. The space was designed to be a sculptural playground that really emphasized the brand's design-forward fitness products. So you're coming here under a tunnel which is representative of the power ring. And as we walk through this way, you see we have this big retail display wall. The profile of this millwork is inspired by the BALA beam. So all of these little touches here that connect the retail space back to the product. And then as you see throughout the store, the color palette is really important, and each area of the store is kind of chromatically organized. So over here we have the sand play mat, and we also have the sand oversized BALA bangle, which is meant to kind of be, you know, like the perfect selfie chair, good for photos, good for kind of relaxing while you shop. Each of these little areas are meant to be zones where customers can pick up the products and really play with them in front of the mirrors. So kind of like, really like testing out the product with these full-length mirrors here to give you that aesthetic of being inside of a fitness studio. Over here we have a big portal archway which takes you into the blush room. And this geometry matches their play mat, which is also in the shape of an arch. Some of my favorite details here is how we've added in the BALA beam into this, almost sort of elevating it like a sculpture. Over here you've got the sage beam, which when you're in this zone you've got all these different reflections, and you know, you can test out. We've got products over here. You can test them out, you know, testing out with these mirrors, and then you also have this crazy sculptural beam to kind of like really almost kind of give you this like Wonderland feeling in here. Something really dreamy and something kind of like very moody and really just playful to energize you. As you come over here, you'll see that we've highlighted all of the merch in a little glass case here. So we've got the play hats and all of their cute little sweaters and sweatshirt suits. And this is the BALA bangles tables. We've got all of the colors out, the 2-pounders on one side and the 1-pounders on another side. So this is the blush room, and it was really meant to kind of be contrasting to all of the colors out there. So when you come into this room, what you'll see is a bunch of cubbies over here, which is actually for when the brand hosts their fitness classes inside the studio space. We also have a couple of changing rooms over here, and of course a place to take a nice selfie. Here in the corner we've got the BALA block, and it's just little details like you'll see in the reflection. We even engraved all of the logos into these millwork pieces so that they truly are one-to-one scale up of the product. The BALA brand is such kind of like a powerful and loud and colorful brand, and through looking at their campaign imagery and a lot of the stuff that they post on their social media, like we gather reference images and inspiration images directly from those threads, and something that we noticed was this kind of thread of texture in a lot of their imagery, and so we wanted to use the blush room to really emphasize that and kind of go over the top. So you'll see we've got the blush velvet cushions, we've got all of the blush curtains, the floor is like a super lush shag carpet, and it's really just meant to create this like sensorial, playful, unexpected experience towards the back of the store.
A lot of the spaces have different colors in them. How did you make sure that these colors didn't clash when interacting with one another?
Yeah, so color during the design process was a really important part of really bringing the brand's vision to life. So we worked with the founders a lot on kind of really zoning, or really kind of zooming in on the color and making sure that they were the perfect hues, that they perfectly represented the brand's product palette. And we ended up organizing the store chromatically based on color. So different zones have the sage color, for example, and what you'll notice is that the beam, which is true to its exact kind of color of sage, it's leaning up and resting on a wall that is also like a light color of sage, like maybe like three shades lighter. So every time a product is leaning up against a wall, it's almost as if the product is touching that wall and kind of giving it like a splash of its own color. During the beginning of the design process, a lot of what we use as our inspiration and our reference images is kind of going to what the brand has already produced as their own content. So we check out their Instagram feed, we check out their past campaign photos, and I just started noticing this like really playful thread of textures in a lot of those images, whether they were creating that domestic feel and creating a beautiful image of somebody on like a lush blue carpet with their matching BALA bangles. So we wanted to find a space that was kind of in the back of the retail store that was kind of this like surprise moment. So if the front of the space has these like really smooth surfaces, the back room here is full of all of these different textures. You've got the blush velvet seating, you've got the blush curtains, you've got this like super fuzzy floral arrangement, and then of course the shag carpet, like extra shaggy, super long shag carpet. And we really wanted this space to kind of almost give you that a little bit more of like in your own home, like something that felt a little bit domestic, because of course a lot of people are using their BALA bangles and their other BALA weights in their own home.
And the space overall has many different colors, even though this room is concentrated on
Blush.
Yeah. There we go. How did you make sure that while these colors were adjacent to one another, they didn't clash?
Yeah, so color was a really important part of our design process. We worked very closely with the founders on everything from getting the paint colors to be like perfect Pantone matches to their products, but also we had a lot of brainstorms and discussions around how we wanted to use color in the space. At some point, the entire store was monochrome, and we took a step back from that because we really wanted to celebrate more colors within their product range. So taking cues from their different product ranges, you'll see that the oversized objects are both like a one-to-one mock-up of the object, but it's also the true color matching one of their products. And then the way that we use that color throughout the rest of the space is to kind of divide up the store chromatically, and each section of the store has a certain color. So the sage beam, the oversized sage beam, is leaning up against a lighter color wash of that same color. And so it's almost as if the sage beam sort of like leaned against the wall and gave it like a splash of its own color. Same with the sage bangle. The sage bangle sort of comes up in motion and sort of touches the wall behind, and that wall becomes kind of a splash of the sage color.
And this is a pop-up shop. So how was the design process different creating a pop-up shop versus a permanent fixed store?
Yeah, so you know, I think what's fun about doing a temporary retail space is that you kind of get to let loose a little bit more. You can think about structures and materials that maybe aren't meant to last years and years, so it frees up some of your millwork and your construction fabrication, and it kind of allows you to design the store as if it were a set. And so that creates flexibility with how we build things. Often making stuff in that way means that we're creating a lot of efficiencies in the millwork, so they're very affordable materials. We often build with scenic designers, which is a certain type of millworker that typically makes sets for either brand photo shoots or movie sets and things like that. So it really allows us to kind of flex, work with people that know how to build fast and build things that are really magical, but under the freedom that they don't have to last forever.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of BALA. I loved, you know, was always looking at their Instagram account, loved the design of their objects. I was actually using images of their fitness weights in references to other projects, and I thought, I want to make a space for them. Like, I felt so drawn to their aesthetic and their playfulness, and I just sort sort of instantly knew that it would be such a great partnership. So I actually just reached out to the CEO, kind of DM on LinkedIn. Just sent him a little message and was like, hey, I really love your products, I love your brand, and I'd love to design a space for you. And I don't know, like maybe in a couple of hours, Max wrote back and was like, perfect timing, we're getting ready to think about retail, let's have a conversation. And you know, sometimes you just have to ask people and things happen.
I love that, the stars align.
Yeah. So I'm excited to show you this part of the store. This flower mound was made by one of my favorite floral designers in New York, Laurel, from the company Dead Flowers, New York. And I love working with Laurel. She has such a playful aesthetic, and it really kind of matched this retail design so perfectly. So I reached out to her. We worked together a lot, and so it was an easy collab. She knew kind of exactly what would be good for this store, and we wanted to create this like attractive, kind of eye-catching flower mound in the front of the space. One, because it was spring, and we wanted to reference the season, but we also wanted to use the flowers as a way to speak to the monochromatic palette and the different colors in the store. So she really leaned into all of the pinks and created this really playful and whimsical arrangement. So one of the things that we wanted to do with this retail space is make sure that on nights and weekends we could transform the space to host a fitness class. So you can fit about 15 yoga mats here on the floor, and the fixtures can move out of the way, and the brand can bring in their favorite influencers to host a yoga class.